All right, folks, it is 7:55. It is time to start this 10-minute stream here on the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel, and let's hit it. So hopefully you're hearing me okay out there. Let me know if you're not. Um, so Brandon and I both have traded illnesses. It feels like we were supposed to record it. We were supposed to record last night. Brandon was sick. I always have an engagement to do on Monday night, so a lot of times we don't really get a chance to record a video until later in the evening. So we kind of both took the night off. That's really what prompted me to get on and do this live thing for you this morning. I just wanted to go over, a little bit more of the aftermath from last Thursday. How much can us Washington fans really talk about the embarrassing loss to the Chicago Bears? Apparently, a lot. It was horrible. It was horrible. I mean, what can you say? But we have to move on, right? The Washington Commanders are 2-3. They've had a 3-game skid, and we're going to also talk about this. I think Brandon and I will try to record tonight, but we will talk about the coaches. But Ron Rivera, he looks checked out. On the Pat McAfee show, he was, they were kind of going over this. They were questioning if Ron Rivera, if he's checked out. Certainly, a lot of folks seem to think that maybe he is. He always seems to have that stoic look on his face, right? So it's possible. I mean, this is year 4, and you're basically starting off the same exact ways you did in the previous years. So, no matter how much you can say that, well, I've changed the culture, I've upgraded certain areas, certain aspects, and all this stuff, when it comes down to it, the rubber meets the road when you look at your record. That is where you really tell, has your team improved? And we're looking at a team that's 2-3 that has just lost to a team that was previously winless, and a team that was not healthy, and a team that continued to be even less healthy throughout that game, continued to lose more players, and yet they were still taking it to us and hung 40 points on this team. I said in my last broadcast that it was just inexcusable. And it really was. It was very inexcusable. So, I've kind of hung around social media, kind of reading tweets. What do you call it now? Do you still call it tweets, or do you call it X's now? I mean, now that Elon Musk has changed the name from Twitter to X. And there's a somber mood amongst Washington Commander fans. One thing is that I think everybody is pretty much done with Ron Rivera. Everybody's pretty much done with Jack Del Rio. And I think everybody's pretty much done with the front office. The sentiment pretty much is that we're ready for someone who is a young, bright mind. Not an experiment per se, but somebody who is ready to come in and show that they can lead a team, that they have the fire, that they have the mind to take this team to the next level. And we desperately we desperately need that. And so let's see what happens. I do expect some major changes at the end of this year because right now I don't expect this team to make it to the playoffs. Not the way they're going. Now, yes, we as always you're going to see this team make a run during the middle part of the season. They're going to beat some teams that you wouldn't think that they would have beaten. They're going to get a win streak. We're going to get happy again. We're going to think, okay, maybe there's a chance. And then toward the end of the season, they're probably going to wind up embarrassing us again. So maybe in one of the more optimistic football fans out there, and I'm saying this, but I've seen it way too many times. And unfortunately, this is probably what's going to happen. I mean, we've seen this story before during the Ron Rivera era. And as I've said before, I love Ron Rivera as a man. I really do. But I think as a coach, it's time for somebody else. It really is. So, moving on from that, we talk about like studs and duds from that game, and then we'll put to bed that game. I think the number one studs from that game were the fans, the ones who bought the tickets and came out and supported this franchise because they felt that there was something new and something exciting, and it's all great now, and felt that they were going to be treated to this fantastic game that they're going to be a shoo-in to win, and of course it didn't happen. So you got to give it to the fans. They really feel like there's excitement and there's a difference. And I talked about this too in some of our earlier videos, that there seems to be a difference. And I think there is. I think there is a difference with this franchise, this new ownership. You will see a better team. You will see a better product. But there's going to have to be some changes that have to be made. Other than that, I mean, I would say as far as players goes, Sam Howell, I think, he threw that one pick, but he played his guts out. He played hard. I think he continues to show that he's a good quarterback. There were a lot of head scratchers with me reading a lot of people blaming the game on him, and I'm like, why? Sam Howell, I think, played really well. He had a few bad passes. He had that one pick. But he's a developing quarterback. He's only played 6 games? So, I mean, my goodness, give him a chance. You guys probably don't remember Peyton Manning's first year. Peyton Manning's first year, I think he only won a couple of games. So, give this guy a chance. I know that we're living in an age where it's instant gratification, that if the quarterback doesn't come out and he plays lights out from the get-go, that next you got to develop these guys, man. I mean, Sam Howell, look at Kirk Cousins too. Yeah, we can say, well, he's nothing but a stat patter, but all the losses really that Minnesota's had, that hasn't come on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Look at his first year. He didn't really play much, but, the next year or so that he did get to play, he was awful. It didn't really start clicking until that first year that he started, and it really didn't start clicking with him until about, honestly, that you liked that game against Tampa. So, um, give Sam Howell a chance. Give him some time. I think he's an excellent quarterback. I really do. And I think he's going to provide us some solid minutes, some solid games for us. Um, we always try to have three studs. So we got the fans, we got Sam Howell. Honestly, I don't know who the third stud would be. Um, you know, we really didn't get to see enough of Brian Robinson. We really didn't get to see enough of Terry McLaurin. I had almost, I wanted to say Logan Thomas because I think that he has really made strides of getting back into the game and playing pretty well and being very physical, but he did have that one fumble, and people are going to berate him over that. Um, Defense, it's hard to give studs because that defensive line has underperformed. I think Chase Young he looks very healthy. I think Chase Young has gotten better, but overall that defensive front has not played up to their potential. Secondary has been horrible. Our first round draft pick has really gotten abused, and but let's not call him a bust just yet. Okay, I think that we need to pump the brakes. There's a lot of players out there. I think we're putting too much pressure on these guys to come out and be superstars right from the get-go. There's a sense of, I think a lot of these coaches sometimes lose that sense of development. And I think that you have to be able to develop these players. Yeah, you do expect a first rounder to come out and play and start, but they're going to make mistakes. And unfortunately for Emmanuel Forbes, he's made a lot of mistakes. But he's went against the best receiver probably right now, one of the best receivers in the league with Philadelphia. And look what A.J. Brown did the next week. So, I mean, it is what it is, but give the guy some help. I mean, give him some short wins, some easy wins. If you bury his confidence too early, then you're going to wind up burying him. Is that what you want to do? So I just don't think that's the right approach. Otherwise, yeah, I really don't know what your third stud is. Maybe Magic Johnson coming out and saying what he said in social media about how he recognized that the team came out and played with no intensity and no fire, and that was an indictment on the coaching. And I'm glad that somebody from ownership is stepping up and saying something. And it looks like that Magic Johnson is going to be the vocal guy. Because right now, Josh Harris doesn't want to be the bad guy. He wants to be the lovable teddy bear that is the exact opposite of what Dan Snyder was. So he wants to be the good cop. Magic Johnson doesn't mind playing the bad cop. Because you know what? Magic Johnson has been a champion with everything that he has done. So, he doesn't mind getting on there and taking the lumps. And you know what? Magic Johnson was completely right with what he said. So, that duds, there's plenty of duds. Coaching, huge dud. Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, huge duds. Defense, huge duds. Special teams, um, what a night for. Um, yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. Huge duds all around. So, moving on from there, we're going to end this video because I got to get to work. But I'll just say this. Coming up on our next recording, Brandon and I will sit down and have a conversation about the coaches. We're talking about, is this the end? Are we starting to see the end of the Ron Rivera era? Or will Ron Rivera somehow magically come up with a way to reel off, several wins, this huge win streak, and somehow sneak his team into the playoffs and save his job? We're going to focus on coaching, or what changes in general will this team be making, because we know that this team is going to be making a lot of changes, this franchise in general, at the end of the season, regardless of what happens after the season is over. So, folks, you're going to want to tune in for that. I know that these live pop-up podcasts are kind of a kamikaze thing. I don't always announce them because, quite frankly, I don't always know when I'm going to be able to do them. But I'm trying to get onto a better schedule for you. I will tell you this. I'm going to try to do these morning broadcasts a little bit more frequently, at least maybe like 2 or 3 times a week, to try that out. So if you're an early riser, be looking for them. I'll typically try to get on air around 7:50 in the morning and maybe go for about 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and then pop off. And then Brandon and I will do recorded videos and release those. Excuse me. We'll try to release those for you maybe sometime like in the evenings. And so we'll try to make sure that you guys know when those things are being released so you can look forward to them. Folks, I hope you have a good work day. Please keep your chin up. Things are going to get better in Commander's Land, and we just have to keep pressing forward. Keep pressing forward, folks. You have a great day. I will see you in the next one.